trying to make shorter videos this week, so I'm breaking up instead of doing one long one. So if we're doing cleaning, and this is part 2, so if you look at cleaning 6, you can see I again have a two-dimensional array. And instead of using transpose, we can actually use the axis command, which will flip along the diagonal, and that way we can run the same thing, get the same results, but now we don't have to transpose, we can just flip along the diagonal. If we look at cleaning 7, we can, if you don't want to drop out data just because it has one missing data in a row, you can use the how equals all, and if we run that, we'll only lose the data that has a completely missing row here. So I have two data sets. I've run the drop NA how equals all on both the data sets, and we've only lost a row in the data set that had an entire row of missing data. If we look at change 8, sometimes we want to set a threshold for how many bits of missing data we're willing to allow. So if you look here, I set a Python string with observations and a Python string that says sites. I build my two-dimensional data, and then we add some labels to that, and then I print the new two-dimensional data with some nice labels on it. Then I calculate the mean for each column, and then I do the means with using the axis command, which get the means for the rows, and then I start dropping out data based on different threshold levels, which is how many usable data points we have in the rows. So if you look here, we start with the nice printed two-dimensional matrix. We have columns which have different locations, and then we have observations as our rows, and it makes sense to do a mean this way. The mean, this is the temperature data, so the mean temperature in the lab over the 4 observations. We can do the mean for the column, but it really doesn't make sense to do the mean data point for observation 1, except maybe it would. If you want to see if it's a hot day or a cold day, you could see the mean values for across the day. Maybe you could do that. Maybe it does make sense. All right, so then we use the threshold option, and you can see if it has less than one usable data point, we lose it, and we didn't lose any because they all have at least one usable data point in the row. And then if we have less than 2, we're still okay. We still have at least 2 data points in each one of our rows. If we get to 3, we lose 1 because we don't have 3 data points in row 2, and or observation 2. And if we go down to 4, we still have 3. If we go down to 5 data points, we only have 1 that has all 5 data points in it. So instead of using all, you can set the threshold on how many usable data points you want to keep.